Day 2. Welcome back. So if you haven't watched day 1, I suggest go watch day 1. We're in day 2 now. Yesterday I pretty much did what you see here. What I'm going to do now is just measure everything up and just double check that it's all identical to the other side, and then once I am happy with it, because to get here, if you haven't watched day 1, you don't want to, basically I made a paper sort of template on the whole thing and then lined them all up. So I'm just going to like measure from like here to here, like here to this corner, here, all that kind of thing, and make sure it's all right and adjust it to be right, and then scribe around and cut these lines. So I'm going to do that now and I'll get back to you guys. So to my surprise, they were actually like dead on perfect, which is pretty good for a paper template. All these measurements are right, like measurements from all different areas are all correct. This here I moved slightly, so what was it? It was slightly too far that way, so I just brought it out a little bit just to match the other side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw my line around the edge of these where the guard is going to be cut, and then I can insert these back in, because at the moment they are, you should probably see before, oops, they're only overlapping. That's alright, I can line that back up pretty easily. But yeah, these are just overlapping, so I need to cut them so then I can butt weld them together. So just like that, the front one, you can see my pen line. I did scribe it, but it didn't really show out, so I used pen. So I'm going to cut that one. So just like that, and then this side here is the same. I've scrubbed my line and I'll cut this one out. So I've pushed the whole truck back, gives me way more room. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start to sort of hammer up, kind of roll the guard-ish, which will allow me to curve it as well. And I've chopped the centerpiece out. So I'm going to make this piece here just like that out of steel. So this is my cardboard template. It's going to work pretty good. So I've got this piece here. I want to be able to fold it about the same angle as what the rest of the guard already is. So that's going to be like maxed out on my bender. And it's not full clamped, like there is a gap, and the reason I'm doing that is that it's a slight curve rather than a sharp bend, because the guard is a nice sort of radius, it's not a sharp bend. So I've just hammered it around more because the bender obviously couldn't bend it that far. One's a little bit more than the other, but it's not really going to matter. I'll fix it up once it's on. And that's pretty much how it fits. So it's going to finish that off nicely. So this side's got a slight curve to it, it's not dead flat. Kind of like that. So the way I'm going to achieve this, I put a bunch of lines. So I'm just going to fold the tiniest bit on every little line, and then it will give me a bend. Which is what someone just asked on my TikTok live, is how I do this, so I'll show you guys how I do it. And with one hand is definitely a lot harder than it should be. Don't want to bend it too much, like it's very easy to bend it too much. So this is, and it's got the curve on the bottom. I just need to make it a radius of that, so curve it this way. Pretty much just like that. Which is pretty simple, I just put one end on something and then sort of hammered it up. And while doing this, I'm currently on YouTube Live and TikTok Live at the same time. So I've put this in, the curve is right, and it's all around there is good now. So I'm gonna put a couple more tacks on that and then move on to this part, which is that piece there. So I've measured it all, it's meant to sit there For some reason I thought that I had more room. I thought this would be on the edge of that, but it's not, so I'm gonna have to put a sliver down there, which is annoying, but it's okay. And unfortunately this hole lines directly up with the hole behind it, because I was hoping I'd miss a hole, because I had to weld that on the other side, but I won't be able to do that. But I'll start working this out and cutting it to fit that in there. Try to get this molding off anyway. Which is glued and double side taped on really hard, because I put this on when I painted it fully gloss black and I didn't want the thing coming off, and it definitely wasn't going to come off. But I'm not going to put these back on. I'm going to use stickers instead, because I don't really like these molds. Well, this is a lot harder than it should have been. It's got glue all the way through there, which I think is no more nails, and then 3 and double side tape each side. So this thing is a caramel wheel for the drill. If you want one of these, just look up caramel wheel online. I think you can get them for super cheap and stuff too. I got mine online. But they'll take off glue, double side tape, or anything. They won't damage the paint unless you stay there for a long time. It can burn the paint, but it's quite unlikely. So they'll take off all the glue or anything that's on the paint. They're really good. And then I use the flappy disc on my grinder and clean up all the paint, so I've got a nice surface to weld to. Same with the other piece that I'm going to put in, and then I'll cut that out after tracing around it. And then remove this piece, put my other piece in that we cut out of the guard previously, that's now moved back a lot. So that's fitting in there. Unfortunately, I'll have to make a piece in here, which I was hoping I wouldn't need to do, but I just marked up my measurements. And I need to fill that hole there, which I kind of expected I needed to do the same on the other side. And then when it's time to weld in, I just make sure that both panels are level and both pieces of steel are flush with each other, so there's no steps and everything like that. So once I've welded it and I've sanded it down, it'll need minimal filler. So I'm just going to show you guys this. See that sharp little point corner? So we're going to trim that off, because we don't want that, because if we try and weld a patch panel into there, it's just going to burn the corner, because the corner is going to be too sharp and thin. So I just get rid of that little corner and then twist this little bit out. This little bit was hot because I'd just been grinding it. And then I get my cardboard and then I can trace around the shape. Cardboard's really good for this kind of thing, because that's not a dead flat panel where I can bend my cardboard, trace around, and then put it onto a flat piece of steel, and then it's just easy to just bend the steel slightly afterwards. And then once I'm happy with my shape, I can trace it onto a piece of steel. And then after I trace it, it's not going to be 100% perfect, and sometimes never is. So I can just draw my line and just touch up the little areas that need trimming down a little bit more. It's best to make it a little bit bigger than what you think if you're not sure, because it's easy to trim off, it's a bit hard to put on. So I got that weird little shape to fill that in, so I'll just tack that in. It fits real well, it just sits in there. So I welded this piece in, I welded this little piece here in, well I tacked it in so it's not going anywhere. So I've got this one and this one to go. I'm going to do this one now. So basically just a wee strip along there with a fold on it and shrink a stretch around the corner. And then I'm back out with the cardboard, so I'm just seeing sort of how this is going to work and how long to make this piece and everything like that. So I cut this piece here out, so this is going to go on the bottom there. I'm just going to fold it 90 degrees and then we can sugar stretch it, and I'll show you guys what I do there. So I'm just marking where it starts to bend and starts to curve, just so that I get a guide when I'm sugar stretching it. So what I'm doing here is, this is a shrinker stretcher. So if you haven't seen my videos before, you may not know what this is. This side shrinks and then this side stretches. So if I put it between the jaws and then stand on it, pulls the steel together, and you'll see all the little marks on there where it's pulled the steel together. And then I'll try it on, and that's what all these lines are from. So I'll try it on, see where it fits and where it needs bending more, and then draw a line where I should do the next one, and then try it on. And if I go a little bit too far, I can stretch it back out, but if I want to try and, say if I wanted to try and stretch this back out straight, it would rip the steel. So you do have a bit of give, not like pipe bending, but not heaps. So what I've done is I've cut this piece here out, so that needs to sit in there like that. Needs a little fine tweaking, but essentially it's there. So I'm gonna carry on with that and get this ready to weld that piece in. And just to assure that everything's gonna line up perfectly, I'm just trying it and then just putting it on the ground and just hammering up just the edge, just to get it fitting a little bit better before I weld it in. So I just try it, hammer it, try it, hammer it, and do this a few times. And then once I'm happy for the shape and how it fits, I'll just trim a little bit more off the guard. And also trim pieces off the patch panel, just until everything fits exactly how I want it. I don't usually go into this much detail over the YouTube videos, but this kind of thing, it is expected that this kind of thing takes a lot of time, because it's just very tedious, and grinding each side, testing it, then grinding a little bit more and testing it, or shaping something and testing it, just until it's right. Just one of those things, it's kind of an art form. Right, so this is all done now. So it fits mint. So I'll take this one in. Drop a comment right now and let me know, do you like these voiceover, more in detailed breakdown videos, or do you prefer just the progress update videos, like my old style of content? A lot of you guys are asking for more and how I do things. And this style of videoing, it definitely takes longer and it's a lot more time editing and filming, but I don't mind doing that if you guys enjoy it. So sometimes these patch panels are hard to hold and weld at the same time because it requires more than one hand, and sometimes it gets quite hot, so it does burn your fingers. So I'm using these jaw style vice grips to try and hold it there while I tack it in. So I welded that piece in, I'll show you guys in a second. I'm just tracing around for the indicator hole now. So the indicator is the last piece to sort of finish off this guard. And I'm using cardboard here again. And then I've got my cardboard template, I trace it onto the steel. I just clean up this area just so that I have nice steel to weld to and I'm not welding paint. And then once that, I'll test fit my panel. It does need a little bit of trimming, but I'll trim that down and then I'll weld it in. Okay, so I've got all this top part all tacked up. I got this part all tacked up, the front, this here, this piece, the indicator, and this piece down here. Everything that needs to be done for this to fully weld it is done. So I'm probably going to just leave it at that stage, and then we'll do the door tomorrow, the door handle, and then we'll move on to this door, and then once I've got it all the shape it needs to be, I'll probably just go through and fully weld the whole car. Because I don't want to fully weld this front piece because the headlights still haven't arrived yet. They're on their way. Hopefully they'll be here soon. It's also almost 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm still on live stream. So it's about 3 in the morning, so I think I should call it a night. I just ended my live stream on TikTok. That was fun. I haven't really done one of them while working on a vehicle before. I've only done 2, which was sort of just a read comments talk. So I'll probably do that again tomorrow. And then I'll edit this video in the morning and then I'll get back onto this.